of all of the situation.
Thank you very much, Chief. Judge Binta Nyako did a fantastic job, in my opinion. It's the true and proper definition of no victor, no vanquished. She made sure that she had a responsibility to give each and every side in the battle. She said something quite instructive. She said that there is no law in the land that justifies the Senate suspending a member of the Senate for a prolonged time. And now we are talking about months now.
Yes.
The maximum that they can do that is 2 weeks. That is what is in the books. You can suspend a senator for not more than 2 weeks. Now we are talking about months. And they are still talking about issuing a letter of apology. Before you talk about letter of apology, you first of all need to admit that, okay, there is a judgment on the ground that clips our wings. But the Senate is not even prepared to accept that, which in my opinion is an act of illegality. They had a lawyer in court. Their lawyer must have fed them back. Okay, this is what the judge said. Okay, this is how we are going to do it. But looking at what they are doing, what they are talking about, they are not even prepared to do that. And it is a shame that the body constitutionally saddled with making laws is the one breaking the law now. I mean, it tells you not to expect anything positive from that angle. Because at this particular point in time, they're not talking about logic, they're not talking about constitutionalism, rather it's about grandstanding, which has no place in a democracy. And you should understand, the legislature determines and defines a democracy. No matter the type of government you are running, there is always going to be an executive, be it in khaki, be it in agbada, be it in traditional ways. I'm talking about monarchical system. But there is always going to be an executive, and there is always going to be a judiciary. When Abacha was there were courts. We had the High Court, we had the Appeal Court, we had the Supreme Court, just like we have everything today. The only thing that we didn't have then was the legislature. Now it is the legislature that determines and defines democracy that is now, upturning everything. That is totally illogical, in my opinion. And in all seriousness, those who know Akpabio, you need to talk to him. Because there is one thing the judiciary hates so very much, and it's you flouting their order.
You think so?
I know so.
I mean, the Supreme Court judgment, the local government autonomy is still...
Let me tell you something.
It's been over a year.
There was actually a time... No, that is no longer their fault. They have done their own part. It's now left to the executive to implement what they have said.
Yeah.
We will get to that. If I'm not mistaken, it's one of the issues you highlighted.
Major story, yeah.
When the former president was there, and the issue of Naira or no Naira got to the Supreme Court, they deviated. All 7 justices of the Supreme Court that sat on that particular case, they deviated and they spoke one after the other that this administration, as of then, that of Buhari, should be very, very careful, that it had the habit of serially violating and flouting their orders, that it should be very careful, that if it's not very careful, they know how to create a pitfall for it, and it was going to, fall into the ditch that they could create for it. But, the government of Buhari subsequently didn't do that again, especially with the Supreme Court. But the judiciary remains the judiciary until there is a contrary order from a court of higher jurisdiction, maybe the Court of Appeal in this instance. What Justice Binta Nyako said is as good as what the Supreme Court is going to say, because that is the final order for now. The National Assembly has not said anything as regards filing an appeal. Should they file? In fact, there are ways they can. It just tells you that these people don't know A from B. If you are not satisfied with what Madam Justice Binta Nyako said, you can go to the Court of Appeal. Number 1, you file to appeal that case. Number 2, you file for stay of execution. What stay of execution means is that, okay, there is an order on the ground, but I am not prepared to follow what the order says. You being a more learned judge, grant me the will and the power to not to do what the lower judge ordered, because in my opinion, the lower court judge heard. There is room for that. But they are not going towards that route. Instead, it's about we didn't see it and we didn't see it. If we didn't do it,
but who's supposed to provide the certified true copy? Is that the court?
The registry should provide it. But before then, the judges, the litigants in this instance, this National Assembly, Senate to be precise, and Natasha Akpoti, the two of them they already know what is happening. Their lawyers must have briefed them. Natasha was in court on that day, and lawyers of the Senate were also in the court on that day. So nobody should claim that we don't know what is happening. Lawyers and appellants could be sometimes funny. Litigants could be sometimes funny. There is a judgment here. Before the close of that day, there is already an appeal. If it's not something that is favoring them and they want to file an appeal immediately, it's only within 30 minutes they would have filed a petition at the higher court. But now it's about, we haven't seen it. It shows that they know exactly what they are doing. And it's unfortunate that is the route they are following, because people are learning from them. People who are not even in government offices are learning a lot from them. And it is unfortunate that it's something bad, something anti-democracy that they are learning from the bastion of democracy.
Someone said online that it's making studying political science more interesting, challenging, and more mentally tasking. Maybe undergraduate or postgraduate students.
I pity people who are in school right now, because what they are saying is
it's not in alignment with.
It is the opposite of what they are being taught every day. So you now begin to wonder, which one do I?
Where do I stand?
Theory or practice?
This is serious. Well, let's talk about the replacement of Senator Natasha. And if you remember that even before all of this whole, issue of sexual abuse and the like, so reshuffling happened sometimes in February, when Natasha was removed as a chairperson of local content and assigned to the now, committee taken away from her. Do you think it's also a planned decision to be making the reshuffling at a time when the court, passed the judgment? Some have called this some form of witch hunting again, from maybe the Senate or the Senate President to Natasha. Let me get your view on this.
Clearly, it is an act of witch hunting. It is, in my opinion, morally reprehensible that Babio could have done that. But the truth of the matter is that it's not illegal. That's the truth. There is morality, there is legality.
So it's not illegal to change, to reshuffle.
It is the prerogative of the Senate President to, at any time and at any point, reshuffle, dissolve, do whatever you want to do to committee chairs. It's like the President saying he wants to sack a minister. He appointed you as minister. If he's no longer interested in you being minister, or he doesn't have trust in your sense of judgment or ability, he can say, I'm replacing you. Nobody's going to. But, people are going to read meaning into it. Take, for instance, the president wakes up tomorrow to say, I'm sacking Wiki. Nigerians are going to say, oh, there is politics involved, there is that. But nobody can go to court because of it, because it's absolute power and right to do it. And it's exactly the same thing for the Senate President here, Natasha Akpoti. He appointed her as chair of Senate Committee on Diaspora and NGOs. If at any point in time he feels like, oh, I need another person, that can be. What I am saying loud and clear here is that Mr. Babio does not have the right to perpetually suspend Natasha Akpoti. That is what is established. And that is what
the perpetual reshuffling.
Suspension. I don't have any problem with reshuffling. Suspension from being a member of the Senate. That is where they are. That is where I have issues with Babio. Now, the woman on a different table. The people of Kogi Central on a different table. The Constitution clearly demarcates 109 senatorial districts across the Federal Republic of Nigeria. As far as I'm concerned, Babio has declared war on the people of Kogi Central because he does not want to listen to them. It is the duty of the Senate President to listen to each and every voice in the Senate, because those voices represent over 200 million people. Now you have decided to blacklist the people of Kogi Central. That is anti-democracy. That is anti. That is a huge anti-democratic tendency on my part, and it's not supposed to stand.
All right, the story still stands, and of course, why do you think Senator Natasha is not apologizing? Really, as stipulated by the court? Should reinstatement come before apology? I know she's supposed to, apologize in, I think, a national daily or two of them, and also to pay, I think, 5 million.
5 million for. She did something that, in the opinion of the court, was an act of contempt. The judge said, "Don't say anything."
Yes, and she
for
did.
now,
Yeah.
and she said something.
Yeah.
So the 5 million is not going to the National Assembly. It's not as if the National Assembly won against Natasha. Natasha Akpoti violated what the court said.
Yeah.
And that is why she is paying 5 million.
Okay.
For the apology, she also has that to do. If it's what the court said, she must do it. If she does not want to do it, then she can go to a court of higher jurisdiction to say, "Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, ma. I am not comfortable with this aspect of the judgment. I said I should apologize." Apologize for what? That's a different. But if she does that, she is also on the wrong side of the law.